Hello and welcome. My name is Josh and this is Josh C Boxing. I hope you guys are all doing well. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. So we got some breaking news that came out yesterday according to Mike Coppinger, and it was released via the Ring Magazine channel. On Twitter it said Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is reportedly now in the process of being finalized for September in Las Vegas. Fight will take place at 168 pounds for Canelo's super middleweight world titles with no rehydration clause. And as I said, that is according to Mike Coppinger. First of all, I'm really happy that we're not going to be getting a rehydration clause. I've never been a fan of rehydration clauses. I think from a health perspective, fighters cut down and they need to rehydrate. So the idea of having a rehydration clause, it's never been one that sat well with me in that sense. So I'm happy that we're not going to have it. I do feel though that if there was a rehydration clause, nothing too crazy, I don't think that would affect Canelo in that sense. I think Canelo's a guy that gets down to 168 pounds. He cuts down quite well. So I don't think that would be too much of an issue for him. And it seems to be his perfect weight. So as long as it was nothing crazy, I don't think that would be a problem. But anyway, round, there is no rehydration clause. The fight is going to take place, it looks like, in September. However, there's a couple of questions off the back of that that I have. Number one, is he going to be fighting in May? One thing that we know about Canelo Alvarez is that he fights usually twice a year, and he's done that for a number of years now. Once in May, once in September, Cinco de Mayo, and also Mexican Independence. It seems at the moment there's nothing to say that he will be fighting in May, but I assume that he will be fighting in May, probably against William Skull, who's his IBF mandatory. And I can see that fight, as I said, happening before he goes into the ring against Crawford in September. If we have that, that means we will have Canelo defending all of his belts if he gets past William Skull. And I don't think that should be much of a problem, if I'm honest with you. So I can see him fighting in May, and I can also see him fighting in September. The other question that I also have with that is who's going to be organising it? Now, this tweet came out via the Ring Magazine, so I can imagine that it will be organised by Turkey, Riyadh Season or Ring Magazine. I believe at the moment Canelo's a free agent. He had a 3-fight deal with PBC, and that was with, I know, Jaime Munguia, Edgar Berlanga was the last one that he had in September, and then the first fight he had with PBC was with Jamel Charlo. So I believe he's had all three of his fights now. I think he is a free agent. So I don't think it's going to be via the PBC banner. I think it's going to be via Riyadh Season. So that's going to be interesting to see who's going to organise it. And it wouldn't surprise me, as I said, if it is via Riyadh Season. But anyway, round, it's a huge fight. It is a huge fight. It's got a lot of people talking. It's got a lot of people reflecting on who they think is going to win. And my thoughts around it is this. I am partially intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm fully intrigued as yet, and it might change, but I am partially intrigued. And I think the reason why I'm partially intrigued and not fully intrigued, I think one of the main things is the weight difference, to be honest with you. Canelo's a big guy in comparison to Terence. Canelo's been fighting at 168 pounds for a while, and he comes in roughly about 180, 185 pounds on fight night. And he's been doing that for a while. In terms of Terence, in terms of fight night, when he faced Madrimov in his last fight, 154 pounds, he came in at roughly about 170 pounds. So he's never been at that weight where he's been more than 170 pounds on fight night. And I think that's going to make a big, big difference. I think size is going to matter. And I think when I talk about size, I also talk about power as well. The power that Canelo has. We've seen him break down fighters at 168 pounds, and he's won in devastating fashion. And that's going to be a huge problem for Crawford, I believe. That weight and that power that he's going to have to bring himself to, and he's gonna have to fight against that in order to try and win. I think that's going to be a problem. So that's the first thing. And I think secondly, when I reflect on this fight a little bit more, I also think about the fact that Canelo's been the guy that's always been able to hold his own at 168 pounds. He went in, I remember, the run, that super middleweight run where he faced Danny Jacobs and he faced Caleb Plant and he faced Callum Smith. those guys were all bigger than Canelo. And even though they were bigger than Canelo, what Canelo done is that Canelo was able to break them down bit by bit, break them down and beat them by knockout or TKO, or beat them by a unanimous points decision. And he was able to do that time and time and time again. So we're thinking of a Crawford who's going up to 168 pounds for the first time, never been there. And then on top of that, having to face a guy who's naturally a super middleweight, naturally a guy that can hold his own, and naturally a guy with power that can, and who has always broken down fighters in that division. And I personally think it's going to be a little bit too much for Terence Crawford on Fight Night. Now, some people might say, well, you know, Terence is a pound for pound champion. He's a pound for pound guy. He's, in my books anyway, he's number 1 or number 2. His boxing ability and his boxing IQ is just second to none. He's absolutely amazing. And he is the archetypical guy of just a fantastic boxer with great boxing IQ. But I think size is there for a reason. Weight classes are there for a reason, as they say. And I think that the size of it is going to be a bit too much for Terence Crawford on Fight Night. So I do see Canelo winning. I see Canelo breaking him down. I'm not going to give a prediction right now, but overall I do see him winning that fight. And I think it's going to be a bit too much for Terence Crawford on the night. However, if Terence Crawford does beat Canelo, my days. If he beats him, my days. I think that's going to be huge. It'll be huge. The fact that he's coming up to 168 pounds and beating Canelo, that weight difference, and still being able to beat him, I think he would deserve all his flowers and more. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Crawford Canelo, or Canelo Crawford. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? What do you think about the whole idea of a no rehydration clause? What do you think also about the idea of Crawford facing Canelo? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's do you think he should face him? Do you think it's, or maybe he shouldn't face him in that sense? Let me know your thoughts. And as always, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, guys, peace.